The Maserati Grecale Folgore. I think I've got that right. Probably butchered the Italian language. It's essentially the full electric version of the Grecale. It's a big SUV. It starts at a tiny bit under £100,000, and we'll tell you all the specs in a minute. But big battery, big SUV, performance, it's a Maserati. And although it's not alone in EV world, the Porsche Macan, for example, is probably a very good rival to it. There's not many around. So now we're getting Maserati getting into the game. I'm hopeful that we're getting this sort of niche, more lower numbers in terms of sales. We're getting the interesting stuff now in EV world. So fingers crossed, this can match its price tag. It's got so much flake in it, it's incredible, and there's a ton of options. That's what Maserati are going down, the personalisation of it all, and there's a lot. I mean, the paint can go up to £30,000 on the Maseratis, just for the paint, the option. Now the grille, very Maserati, you've got the massive trident in the middle, and again, I think that's hiding a few sensors, that does make sense. So you're certainly going to recognise it instantly as to what it is. And I always think Maserati gets a bit of the poor end of the stick compared to the other Porsches and Lamborghini and Ferrari and things like that. But for me, the Maserati is the discerning gentleman's Italian sports car, or in this case, SUV. This is the daily driver to somebody who has a proper sports car. So, fulfilling that role, that's what we need to concentrate on here. It's not just an expensive EV. It needs to be a decent family one as well. And in terms of the battery size, it's definitely starting out with that because it's not far off 100 kilowatt hours. It's got a little bit of Cayenne, Porsche Cayenne going for it, but it is unmistakably, because of this huge badge, a Maserati for me. And it's not in your face, other than the grille and the price. It's fairly subdued. I don't know what I'm expecting. Am I expecting something shouty or something subtle? I think most people go for subtle. Now, this is on a little bit of a slope and I'm not very tall, so it looks a lot bigger than it actually is. I mean, again, SUV proportions, but it's not colossal. Now, the Folgore, that means lightning in Italian. That's all in like copper, as are the brake calipers, which means it's the electric version. They do a combustion engine version of this, 2 of them in fact. In terms of practicality, you know what? It's easy to get in and out with, especially in the back. That's a huge entry. Now remember, most cars these days they're not for us. Some arguably aren't even for Europe. I think this was launched in China. For the Chinese market, this is probably perfect. I won't say it could be any car, but from the side, I bet most people wouldn't be able to tell you what it is without being told first. The copper writing for the Grecale and the Maserati, again telling you it's the electric version. So I like a little touch here and there, just little Easter eggs telling you what's going on. But the back is quite standard SUV here. There's not much flair going on here, not certainly Maserati or Italian flair. It could be an Audi, it could be a Chinese brand. It could be any SUV almost. There's not really any, it's not like they've got some sort of lights that are, oh, that's cool or unique. There's no real design element for me to point out and go, ooh, look at that. The boot, of course, it has to be a family car. I mean, you're going to get everything you need in there. The shop, the kids stuff, the golf clubs. And if you lift this up, not really anything there. So what you see is what you get, but you do get quite a lot. Charging, not as good as the other Maseratis. We'll come to the speeds in a second. And some would expect a motorised door with a car of this value, but I guess it's less to go wrong. What do you think? Do you want, as a Maserati owner, or as an expensive car owner, do you want it subdued, or do you want it in your face? I imagine this will divide the comment section quite a bit. Okay, now, again, as a high-end car, you should expect a high-end interior. The steering wheel does not disappoint. Black gloss, not a fan of personally, but they do feel at least solid. This is like, well, I don't know what to call it. It's textured. It's very nice, basically, and again, this sort of leather effect, or leather door cards, the speakers, the high-end stuff. And this is very spec'd, I should point out. You do have more black gloss there, which I'm not a fan of. And that's how you open the door, you just push that. So that's nice and easy. Manual release is down here. You've got this lovely dashboard. lovely clock with the logo until you turn the car on, and you do that by pushing this button here. Ooh, and then you get a nice little noise. The centre is dominated by this screen. So down here we've got all the climate control, which means that it's all in one place, but it is touchscreen. So I don't mind that too much, although when you're doing this, you sometimes catch it. So you end up screwing this up basically by doing that. So, you know, I can live with it. This here, I mean, it should be easy to use, but I find that it's not that intuitive because you press it and there's a bit of a delay. I prefer a physical knob, so to speak. Glove box going to be like.
Oh, look, even how it just goes down. Look at that.
That's very deep.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, now whilst we're on to nice things, I do again love the Maserati badge. It's got one of the best badges of any manufacturer. And these seats,
look at that.
Again, it's spec'd up, so don't expect this from everything. But that is comfortable, cooled, heated, all the usual toys. And this one has panoramic roof, which does have an oddity. Can you open the sunroof for me?
I'll try.
So it opens, which is good. It's good, and you think, keep going. There we go, and that's it. That's as far as the sunroof opens. Yeah. It's a bit strange for me. I'm not sure why it only goes to there.
It went like back to there.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. I don't get that one. It does brighten the cabin up a lot, doesn't it?
It does a lot, yeah.
So that is something that I'm glad for in most cars, to be honest. Now down here, ooh, I like that. You've got USBs and a place for things. Oh, nice. Wireless charging for your phone. Cup holders, which do feel really, really solid. That's nice. And it doesn't just slam back down. And you've got your Maserati keys. And lots of close storage, as well as another 12-volt thing there.
What does the key look like?
Oh, that's heavy. That's good.
It's a nice key, that,
yes.
Isn't it?
I hope the Volvo Polestar group are watching. Nice keys can make a lot of difference. Although most people use the phones now, I guess.
They do.
So ultimately, nice place to be, which is a good thing. I mean, this has got a bit of flair to it for me as far as dashboards go.
It's a contrast to the outside, isn't it?
The outside's a little bland.
The inside is really nice.
It's very bland
and the outside is just a little bit too, let's say bland, a little bit too vanilla ice cream.
Drive mode, so you turn this, and we have, of course, Sport and GT, max range and off-road, because we all know this is going off-road. I would definitely call this a premium interior. It's not the most spacious, it's not the most practical, but it's certainly not a bad one, is it? Yeah. No. Well, it looks nice. I mean, again, these seats are beautiful. What about space then? What have you got down your feet?
Got a lot of space here, but there is, because you can tell it's a shared platform, there is a hump in the middle.
There's a hump in the middle.
There is.
Because this is available in petrol form as well, of course.
2 USB. I've got a USB-C and a USB-A. Heated seats in the back as well, have a look at it.
Cool. It's what you'd expect. Most cars these days are 2 adults, but not 3 adults.
It's very nice in the back here, actually.
Is it something that Maserati have deliberately gone for? Not in your face? Because not everybody wants that, do they? It's like, I'm a Ferrari, I'm a Lamborghini, for example, is the polar opposite of what some people want.
Some of the other cars, they have flair and design.
Touches.
Yeah.
Don't have to be in your face.
It doesn't have to be like, don't have to be, muscular and rectangular and bulky like a Lamborghini.
It is in a CV.
It has something, doesn't it, where you go, oh, that's a Maserati. With this, I think you could take the badges off and you could put a Porsche badge on this and you wouldn't suspect it wasn't a badge, Porsche on the outside. You could put a BYD badge on this and people would go, oh, right, yeah, it's a BYD.
I think a lot of non-car people absolutely would. So that apart from the grille at the front, there's not much to tell me that I've just spent over £100,000.
There isn't. I mean, sat inside.
Oh yeah.
I'm going.
That's where it's at.
This is where it's at. But outside, I don't think. Well, do you know what? I don't think it's one of those cars I'm going to turn around to look at when I park it.
Is it meant for that? Because at the end of the day, let's face it, the person who buys this is probably buying it as maybe their daily, the other car for the school run.
Yeah.
Someone with means who essentially has got the supercar, the sports car, the weekend toys, and this is the daily, essentially.
So, it's got 550 horsepower.
I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot of horses.
A lot of horses.
It does weigh a lot, though, doesn't it? It's a bit of a lard ass.
Nearly 2,500 kilograms.
Wow. That's it. Wow.
And given, what's the battery size?
Usable's 97.
97 usable. So over 100 kilowatt hour battery. Now, that's where your weight is. But on a car like this, and certainly with the leather and the seats, you can see where it's gone.
Yeah.
And that doesn't bother me because you're not going to be tracking this, are you?
It's not a track car, no. I don't think most people are going to drive this particularly fast.
No, but you can.
You can if you wanted to.
But it's super quiet. It is. It's really
Is
quiet.
it another GT?
I would say so. I mean, this for me is quite for an EV,
Yeah.
quiet sort of thing, isn't it? And that's exactly what I expect out of.
Probably a lot of the weight and money has gone into sound deadening insulation.
Deadling.
Stiddly deadling.
And of course, it's full electric. It's all-wheel drive, and Jesus, instant torque.
Whoa.
That was whoa. That was.
Interesting.
I mean, that
Rips your neck off.
that isn't full throttle. I haven't put my foot to the floor there.
Wow.
Whoa,
Whoa.
that was scrabbling there. You see, it's fighting a bit.
And the tyres on this are nearly a foot across, aren't they?
Yeah. So when you want, you can overtake someone like that. But again, it's not a hot hatch. I don't want to be hooning around the countryside in this compared to
Something else.
the Grand Cabrio, for example. But again, it's an expectation of a value of what you're paying for, isn't it? You don't have to do it, but
Do you
you
know what?
expect it.
It soaks for road up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
It's just literally soaking it up.
well, let me put this into GT, and I've put the suspension into soft.
I mean, that's lovely, isn't it?
And this isn't exactly a smooth road, is
No.
it? It's a
It's
country
still
road.
firm, isn't it? But it's really nicely
Well,
judged.
if you want to, you just put it into the firmer version. Another thing I quite like about, let's face it, Maserati as a whole, is that you don't really see many of them relative to this sort of thing. So you would be almost, again, the discerning gentleman or lady who's chosen something different. Are we looking at this as somebody who, it's a car I will never have, so I want it to be special. Whereas someone who buys this, they're not bothered. They've got the special cars, the super and the hyper cars.
I don't think it has to look sporty. It just needs to have
Something, yeah.
some design cue.
And like I say, you're not going to turn around and go, blip, blip,
No,
at
hey.
the car supermarket,
Yeah.
are you? Whereas, well, would you do that with a Macan or a Taycan? Would you do that with a Porsche Taycan? It's common now, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you can tell what it is because you know it's a Porsche.
So we've just passed the Q7.
That's
and
massive,
that
isn't it?
big, expensive Audi. And it's probably not far off this, is it, in terms of cost, if you really wanted to. Maybe that's probably a bit cheaper, but which would you rather be in? Forget the electric diesel side of it.
I drive even in most things than Audi.
Well, in an Audi SUV, it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
very
just-
similar, bland. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, it's got nearly 100 kilowatt hour battery. The range should be extreme. Hey, 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour we've been getting, which, let's call it 230 miles of
That's
realistic range. 210 to 250 real world miles year round.
It's got you over the 200 barrier, but what a battery size!
Yeah, I'm expecting more, but given the weight, given the luxury, the really big seats and the leather everywhere, I guess that's what you expect.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, we've driven the petrol version of this, and didn't we figure out that the range of that,
Was similar to this, yeah.
it wasn't, it was about 50 miles more than this, and that's a petrol car only. Because that was getting, what, 18 miles per gallon?
And that was over a longer time, wasn't
That
it?
was
We looked at the history of the
800
car.
miles. The paddles for the regen get in the
The
way.
paddles need to be on the steering wheel.
They're too
It's
they're
not-
massive. I can't.
It's not a gear change.
I keep
You're
on
right,
whacking
though.
my finger on it. It's not the most efficient, but it's kind of expected. And
Yeah.
to be fair, it's slightly better than remember the Audi e-trons?
They were terrible, weren't they? The original ones.
I got a message from someone saying that their wife doing very short journeys. I think I've said this before in another video, but doing very, very short journeys in the middle of winter when it was -10, she was getting 1.2 miles per kilowatt hour out of the e-tron.
Where are we?
I don't know, but this road's got very, very narrow all of a sudden. This is a proper farmer's road, isn't it, in terms of there's lots of
This
farms
is-
offers. I mean, it's a
yeah.
road, but there's potholes. Oh, hello. That's a big one. But
Wow.
it's soaking it up rather nicely. I mean...
What point do we go back?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, sorry, we just lost a little bit.
We're going back. So I don't know what to think about this because it's so out of the range of average me.
Yeah.
For me, it's an aspirational car. But it's not an aspirational car. It's an SUV for taking someone to school that just happens to be expensive and come with lots of
Do you think
nice things.
It's a bit Jekyll and Hyde. It's a little bit of it's a very fast performance vehicle, and on the other hand, it'll just go around doing taking the kids
Yeah.
to school, and it's comfy. It's a bit of
I guess what
It's a
we
mixed
need,
bag.
yeah, I get what we need to do. This is the naivety of us as car reviewers, I guess, in terms of we're not used to doing cars of this value, so we're looking at it from our perspective,
Yeah.
our financial
Yeah,
kind of zone, as it were. If somebody's like, well, I just lease a few cars and that's £1,000 a month, that's £2,000 a month.
This isn't your only vehicle, is it?
No, and
Like you said, this is
It's a good one.
this is the one that the kid. This is the workhorse. Dog goes in the back.
yeah, you're not going to be too bothered about keeping it clean in the same way I would, because I'd be obsessed keeping this clean because it costs £100,000.
Yeah.
Whereas it doesn't cost £100,000 when you're leasing it. It doesn't cost $100,000 if it's a company car.
Yeah.
And it's a full electric company car, so the benefit in kind is probably tiny. So are we looking at a bargain used car? Because it's an EV that's a Maserati. It's going to drop a lot.
Do you know? Watch this space. I think it could be one of those in a couple of years' time where you go, wow, it's lost X amount. What? So this is around 100-ish new. 3 years' time, 40, 45.
Well, look at the Taycans.
Yeah.
This configuration for a while now.
Feel the tyres scrub there?
Yes, I did. And from the passenger, it's much more unnerving if they do a Lamborghini Urus in full electric, which they won't, but if they did, I would just want to be in that because of the bonkers look of it.
Yeah. I think that's the only letdown with this, is that I love the interior and it's a nice place to be. It's it's driving well.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
they've done well on that.
It just looks like it could be anything.
Now we've done a fair few miles in this and the petrol version. So
Which one would you
forget
go
the
for?
cost. I have to assume that if I got this, I would have a weekend toy or two.
Yeah.
So then I would go for the EV. If it was my only car, and again, costs presumably in terms of fuel costs and that for work is not really a thing when you're spending this much, I would probably go for the petrol version because if I'm going, well, I'm spending over £100,000 as a petrol head, I want something a bit more fun, something that farts out of the back, the exhaust when you change up, which it did.
For me, I think the petrol one was more engaging and more entertaining. It felt a bit darker and lighter.
Well, it is certainly, yes. This is a heavy car.
But like you said, if you had that in something else, so if you had a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something as that other car, then yeah. If it was me to have just an only car and it had to fulfil being fun and everything else, I'd probably go for the petrol.
Yeah. Unlike the Gran Turismo, the electric one of them, this will only charge at 150 kilowatts.
Which is a bit of a letdown with such a big battery.
It's got the 400 volt architecture, not the
has.
800 volt that the others have, which means that it's going to take a while to fill up. Now, on the plus side, it does sustain 150 kilowatts up to about 60%, and then drop to 140 up to 70%.
So
it's not as bad as it sounds.
No, its peak performance is less, but over the whole course of it, it's probably not going to be that far behind.
Put you on the spot. What food is this?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that, and I haven't got an answer for that. What's
expensive,
but
not shouty.
Doesn't look very. What did you have for dessert?
Oh, I don't know what it was called. It was so posh, my brain didn't. It wasn't a profiterole, but it looked like a profiterole.
Yeah, and the inside was like, oh wow, this is amazing. Yeah. But from the outside, it looked kind of bland. It's whatever you had as a dessert. It is that. It's
a profiterole.
It's a bit like a profiterole, but yours was like a posh profiterole.
If you see
we might have his depth here out.
Yeah.
We're a really 5-star hotel where it's £1,000 a night to stay, and we turned up with hoodies on and trainers. We look like we've come to either like clean a car.
Yeah.
Or to nick one.
A guy in a Lamborghini just gave us his keys and walked off. Didn't he? What? So no, thank you for watching, guys. That's it. That's the Maserati Grecale Folgore. I think I got that right. So like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Cheers for watching.